Hey there, fellow sea glass lovers. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Jackie, and this is part 6, not 7, in my Lighthouse workshop series. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about doing something a little bit different. Painting on sea glass. I'm going to show you 2 different ways of painting on sea glass. In my last video, I showed you what I've done to collect all my materials together for my sea glass mosaic of the Lighthouse, and there was just a few things you might have noticed that I didn't point out. One was the pride flag, and the other was the windows for my lighthouse. So I'm going to do something a little bit different because I'm all about creating interest, and I always like to try different things. So let me show you 2 strategies for painting on sea glass to add a little bit of interest to your sea glass mosaic. I guarantee people are going to look at it and say, oh, how did you do that? That's something that is a lot of fun when you create art, when you make somebody ask a question about it. So join me for this one. Now, if I just used regular sea glass here, I don't know that people would identify it as the pride flag. So this is one of those rare cases when I really want to paint the sea glass. So I picked out 6 pieces of sea glass that will look like a flag flying on the sail, and my 6 colors of the pride flag. I have a little thing of water here, and for this, you use this very sparingly. I don't paint a lot of sea glass for my sea glass pieces, so just in a rare case where I need one. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit on the back piece of the sea glass, not on the front piece, because then when this dries and I flip it over, you're still going to see the back of the sea glass. That's it. There's the red one done. Clean that out, and then I will do the next color. So it's because I'm using these bright, vibrant, real paint colors that I think it will look like a pride flag, because the colors of actual sea glass, I think, could just get mistaken for pretty sea glass, not for the pride flag. And I'm feeling the need to show a little pride. So there's my orange piece. And leave them flipped upside down while they dry. You don't need very much. Now if you do this is acrylic paint. These are my tiny little tubes of acrylic paint. I'm probably going to have them for years because I use so little of them. Just use a tiny little bit on the back, and then once it dries, if you flip it over and you decide, oh, I didn't use enough paint, it's not coming through quite bright enough, just add another layer. So there I have my 6 pieces of sea glass. I'm going to let that dry overnight, and then I'll be able to flip it around and put it into my sea glass mosaic. Now I have one other paint strategy I wanted to show you. I'll set that one aside. And I have these pieces that I've already painted that I want to use for the 3 windows of my lighthouse and the door of my lighthouse. Now these, again, I've painted them on the back side. They're already dry, and when I flip them over, it'll show that light coming through. And what I've used for these is this spray paint. Sorry, I just automatically shake that stuff. This is Sea Glass Aqua Krylon spray paint, and it is so beautiful. I'm only going to use 4 pieces in this particular sea glass project because I think that's enough. I only want a tiny splash of this color. Now just spray on. I'm not going to demo this for you because I wouldn't do it inside. I strongly recommend, if you find this and you want to give it a try, take your pieces of sea glass and your paint outside to spray it, because it smells really bad, and then leave it to dry in a place that is away from your living area, because I don't like the smell of it. So I'm not going to demo it for you today because it's raining outside, but I did these already, and then I thought, yes, that's going to work. I wanted to try it before I decided if I was going to use them or not. So now the paint is all dry on the back side of those pieces of sea glass. So now I can just take them and put them right where I want them on my sailboat. My sail, rather. So I'm going to have a pride flag on my sail. Now this is a little bit wider than what I've drawn, so I'm going to have to accommodate that and make my sail the same size. This is where you can be a bit flexible in your pattern. I can make my sail come down a little bit further, just adjust it as I'm filling in with my pieces of sea pottery around it. I think that's going to be really cool. Now I've got my windows and my door, and they're totally dry on the back side, so I can put them right here, right into my lighthouse. Now with these, when it comes to gluing them on, I'm going to glue the windows on first and then fit the rest of the lighthouse pieces in around them. And I think that's really interesting. You're probably going to have to tell people if you do this that that's not the real color of the sea glass, whereas the yellow is the real color, and so is the blue in the flag, but that's okay. It's all about what's interesting, and just having a different element is interesting. So, I think that adding a tiny bit of painting to your sea glass mosaic is interesting. So if it's interesting, go for it. So thanks so much for joining me for this video. I hope you found it interesting, and it gives you some other ideas of things to try in your sea glass mosaic. So until next time, I hope you make it out to the beach, and happy sea glass hunting.